Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Rebellious Noise podcast, and we are here again to talk Royal Rumble 2021. This time we are going to be talking about the men's and the women's Royal Rumble matches. Boys, are you ready to rumble?
Yeah, let's do this.
Let's get ready to rumble.
This is going to be tough.
And don't forget, guys, if you haven't already, then go back and check out the previous video that we did on the Royal Rumble. That was just talking all about the 3 title matches. And if you've come here and you've joined us from watching that video, then thanks for sticking around and bearing with us. So we are now going to move into the Royal Rumble matches. Now,
hold on a minute. Why didn't you do a Howard Finkel intro, mate? Come on. It is now time.
Okay. It is now time for the Royal Rumble matches.
Beautiful.
There we go.
Lovely.
Rest in peace, Fink.
Of course.
So, for the Royal Rumble, the scoring is...
Whoa. Why you do the rules like Howard would do the rules, mate?
Okay.
You don't have to, mate. I know it's a lot of work. I was only joking.
The only way to win is to throw your opponents over the top rope and both feet hit the floor. No. So if you select the winner of the match from the person that you select, then you get 2 points. Mm-hmm. We are going to pick, obviously, at random. We will pick a number for you. That will be for both Rumbles. If that one comes in, then you win 1 point. You also get 1 point for picking the first person to be eliminated from the match, and 1 point for selecting the superstar who will make the most eliminations.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is on the count of 3, we are I'm going to count down from 3, so it'll be 3, 2, 1, and then we are all going to say who we think is going to win the women's Royal Rumble match, and then I will pick out our numbers for both Rumble matches. So, do you all know who you're picking to win the women's match?
Not the women's.
Everybody just trying to sign out.
Okay, I've got a name.
I've got a name.
Right,
I'm going with it.
Right. 3, 2, 1.
Lana.
Rhea Ripley.
What did I say? So I said Bailey. Dan said Rhea. You said Lana.
I said Bianca.
Yeah.
Did you say Lana?
Said Lana, yeah.
Whoa, okay, Bianca Belair. Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Oh, I want to say her. Okay, yeah, Lana. Okay.
So hang on. So Lucas said Lana. Rob, who did you say? Bianca Belair.
Oh, that's a really good pick.
This is why we did it at the same time for this, man.
Oh.
See, now, me and Lucas have actually gone 2 people that have not even been announced for the match. Well, actually, yeah. We've gone for 2 people that have not even been announced yet. So, right. So now I'm going to go to this hat and I'm going to pick out our numbers for both Rumble matches.
2 chances to win as well, right? Same number for both Rumbles, ain't it? So.
Yeah, so this number will be the men's and the women's. So whose number should I pick first?
Do it in the screen or?
Yeah,
I'll do mine first. So, totally at random, I have got number... Unlucky for some.
Oh,
13.
Okay. Are you happy about that?
Middle of the field. I think Drew won from 12 last year, I think. So,
but if it's 13, they kind of got to make a point of it being 13. So
yeah.
Maybe. So, next one. Scott. Got you right here. You are number...
Oh!
Edge won from that number.
I don't know. I feel
2010.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm pleased with that, though.
It's suspenseful, you know.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Lucas, you are. There's going to be no like Eddie Guerrero shenanigans trying to steal numbers. You have number
10.
Oh, I don't think anyone's won from that number before.
Number
10. I mean,
10.
Orton won number 8, I think it was.
I'm going to get 1. You know, 4, I'm getting 1 or 2.
Yeah, but that could be good, man. That sounds bad, but look at how many people won from 1 and 2.
Right, and Rob, the final one.
Let's see.
Oh, dropped it.
It's really tense, isn't it?
It feels like we're in the Rumble match.
Did you say 1 or 2, Rob?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll take that.
21.
I'll
That feels
take
good.
that.
That feels like a good number.
You
I
got
feel
two.
like-
You got 2 and a 1.
If I had to
there, so
pick out of anyone's, I would have picked Rob's. Because I feel
think
like that's when
probably-
the main eventers come in.
yeah.
but 29
Later on
is
in the
quite big
match.
as well, though, isn't it? 29.
Yeah, but sometimes it's... Yeah. Oh, okay. So, well...
I mean, like I said, Edge won from that number.
Yeah,
Edge won,
yeah.
and it was 11 years ago, so it's not like it's recent enough for it to
like,
be a
not
copycat.
again. Yeah.
So, yeah, you know.
Okay, so I guess should we... it doesn't really matter what order we go in, does it? Because we've already said who we think women going to win. But who wants to go first and talk about why they picked who they picked? I kind of want to hear Lucas's choice the most. So can we start with Lana, please?
Crack on.
Hold on, mate. Hold on.
Yeah, obviously, look, like this saying the people.
Sorry, this just spilled all over me. I pushed it down too hard.
You deserve that. You deserve that for being a pug, not taking my pick seriously.
Sorry.
So I would preface it by saying I'm not going to be able to do a lot of watching of WWE recently. And I picked Lana on the basis that she's been doing that kind of like winning without winning kind of stuff. I don't know if that's over now. I guess it kind of is because they didn't have the TLC match. But perhaps this was the payoff. They didn't give her the TLC match, but they had decided to put her in the Rumble and have her win it. She could be number 30 as well, and she could do a Santino and it actually work, where she gets taken out the match, and then she gets the whole. Someone else thinks they've won. But yeah, there was no other reason other than that. Like, she's the only person, because obviously, they've had Becky, Charlotte, and Asuka all win, so that's the 3 kind of main, of the division. The only people missing will be Bayley, and obviously Sasha. Sasha's champion at the moment, as is Asuka. So, and I think they do need to have a year of it going to someone outside of the top echelon, because the only way to get those people, as women, into the top echelon is for them to win these kind of matches, isn't it? There's no point having stuff like the Women's Rumble and the Women's Money in the Bank. You're going to keep giving it to the main event of the women's division. The only other person I think they might give it to, because they keep giving the person chance of a chance, is Nia Jax. In men's battle royals for years, the whole thing was big guys won them. And even if you look back at the original kind of Royal Rumbles, like the second one, Big John Studd, he won, and it was just because he was a big guy. There was no other reason than that.
It's more believable, to be fair.
Yeah, and I mean, Nia, they can't keep playing her like someone who is unstoppable and a monster when she loses quite a lot. But yeah, Lana's my pick because I said it. So there we are. I'm locked in with Lana.
I was kind of tempted by Shayna, even though I don't think that, because that's what I would have wanted last year, and I just don't think it's going to happen. But it would be interesting because Shayna and Nia could kind of screw each other towards the end or something like that, or it could come down to the two of them. So for that, I kind of get your kind of Nia kind of pick for that. But other than that, I didn't really think about it much. Out of the two of those, I was more leaning towards Shayna, and I just thought this ain't the year for her because they missed out last year.
Nah, they missed out last year. But yeah, Lana's my pick. Who's next?
All right, Goldberg.
All right. Also, you picked. You were selected number 10. Number 10. In the men's rumble was last won by Seth Rollins in 2019. So, could it be won by a woman from number 10? You need to hope Lana comes in at number 10 now, because if she comes in at another number,
it'd be perfect for you, mate. Yeah,
because then you could get double points plus one. So who would be next then? Would that be? We're just going to go in order.
I'm going to go around in order. So I'll be next, right?
Yeah, you go next, mate.
Yeah. I mean, does it really need explaining that Bianca Belair is possibly the best choice to have win? Like, she was fantastic in NXT. She's not really had a chance to shine yet, but you know full well what she's capable of. And I just think if there was ever a time to push her to the moon, it's now. So, you know, Bianca Belair for me. If you don't win, we're going to riot. That's my that's my theory, and that's what I'm sticking with. I mean, is there anyone that really? I mean, you got Charlotte and Asuka that are the tag champions. Obviously, Asuka's the champ as well. You got Sasha on the other side that's the champ. There needs to be someone that's, you know, believable. And I'm not saying that Lana isn't, but I feel like if you need someone right now that's going to be believable to help elevate the women's division again, then there's no point having Bayley, you know, and Becky's not around. So who else do you use right now? So literally that, and it's Bianca Belair, who I think is the next thing to go up, you know, and that, you know, give herself and hit that bar. So yeah, so for me, Bianca Belair's winning.
And you got number 21, a number that nobody has ever won a Royal Rumble from. Could this be the year? You've got two hits at it. Is it going to be the curse of 21?
I hope not. I think if Bianca Belair comes out at 21, then, you know, I'm laughing. That's 2 points, right?
But that's free. So you get double for the Rumble anyway, and then the bonus point for the raffle. So yeah, but then again, if she comes out as 21 and you lose, then you ain't laughing.
I'm not happy, but
for me, it was between Bianca Belair. I mean, Bianca was probably going to be one of my big picks, but then I decided to go for Rhea Ripley because it's strange. Because I think obviously they were doing the thing last year with Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, and I think, because they did all like the vignettes of her in Raymond James Stadium and stuff, it's stuff that they could easily kind of recycle and use again this year, maybe. So my thinking is Rhea Ripley's going to win the Royal Rumble. Charlotte is going to win the Raw Women's Championship inside the Elimination Chamber. And that is going to go on to be the main event on the Raw side of things for the women, especially at the Royal Rumble. I got as well number 13, which has only ever been won once, and that was in the very first Royal Rumble by Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh,
so
I was going to do it, but that's what I was doing.
And obviously, like with Rhea Ripley, you know, it seems like number 13 would be quite an apt number as well for our guest. So,
true.
Yeah, so you know, I'm quite happy with 13. I think Rhea Ripley, it was. As I say, for me, it was between Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. I think I think they're going to be the final two. But yeah, for me, it's going to be Rhea.
Can I was going to say, I feel like Rhea has got one of these. I think she could be like how Kane was in a Rumble, get all the eliminations, look destructive, and look so solid all the way through it, but never win it. Like she has, because she's so good. And she has that build as well that she looks dominant. I feel like they could put her in that position that she doesn't have to win something.
Yeah, like you almost get a shine, but you don't have to win. Yeah, like you get two things out of that night. You get the person looking strong, and then you get the winner. You know, like and Rhea can go on to someone else through.
Exactly. I feel like Rhea's got that.
I'd say though that if Rhea is entering this Rumble, she has to win though. Like if she isn't, I don't think because I think she is obviously one of the best females they've got, and I'm you know that booking that you said with leading back to Charlotte versus her, that's perfect, and that's where you want to be. It was an incredible match last year, which annoyingly is really uncomfortable to watch because sadly women's wrestling without a crowd sounds really wrong to the
like tennis.
In a nice way.
Tennis is the same.
And it didn't do it justice. So it might be one of those where they want to do a rematch of. But then obviously, if they were to do a rematch of Brock and Drew as well, on top of that, are we just going to get WrestleMania 36 Part 3?
Yeah.
We've got to ask us
maybe
how many of these are they going to just have to accept that. Sorry, the timing of it was rubbish. The world was collapsing. You know, sorry, you didn't get to do it in front of a crowd, but you had a Mania match, so there you go.
I think that's exactly my way of thinking for going with Bayley there, because I was thinking similar things as all of you. Well, not so much what Lucas said about Lana, even though I can kind of see it.
I know I'm wrong with Lana. I know I'm wrong.
It's just that I can't see months of Lana going. Like it just doesn't seem. It's a short kind of a month of like the whole bully thing, getting over it. But 3 months of that, I can't see that being it. But and fans buying it. So Then moving on to Rob's one of Bianca Belair. I was so close to saying Bianca Belair, but like a lot of people, she's another one that I feel like last year in some ways, but then in other ways, I feel like because she didn't do it the last few years, this was the year to build her for the whole year, and then she'd do it. Because what I love about the Rumble and Money in the Bank is when they do a upper mid-carder that is breaking into the main event. That is the best way to use both these gimmicks. And that would be Bianca Belair. She fits the mold the best out of all these. You can kind of say Rhea as well, but where she's still technically in NXT, it doesn't feel as, quite like the same as Bianca's kind of chances for that. But yeah, it's just that I think I've gone for like a safer bet of Bayley because exactly that. She's a safer bet. She's kind of involved in Bianca at the moment, so I feel like she could kind of one up her and like get more heel heat that way, and Bianca gets more sympathy that way, continues that rise. Because I feel like Bianca through this year wasn't pushed to this point. Like, if you would have asked me last year, I would have said Bianca Belair is winning it next year. But the year hasn't panned out the way I thought. The last 2-3 months have started to get back to that. But because of that, again, it's a timing thing. I feel like maybe if the Rumble was in 2 months' time, I'd be more assured that it was going to be Belair. And then on Dan's one about Rhea Ripley, like you were saying, Lucas, like all these kind of like, let's try agains for WrestleMania this year. I can kind of see in them maybe doing it once, but which one, I don't know. So because of the whole shot, is it Charlotte Rhea? Maybe. Is it Kevin Owens and Seth again? Maybe. Is it Goldberg and...
The thing is, in the nicest possible way, though, like, surely, like, your part-timers are your ones that you should be redoing stuff with because, like, at big shows. Because with respect, Charlotte and Rhea Ripley is a program that I'm going to be bold with it. It's a program that can main event any pay-per-view of any year of any promotion.
Probably the biggest disappointment of how last year went was that feud not being played out in front of all the fans. Like Dan said, that footage, like that was what was making me think of Rhea Ripley, was that they can reuse that footage and they can tell that story even more now. Like because she lost as well. You got to remember that she lost that. This time in front of fans to do it again, use the same footage and win it would be great. But again, I'm going with Bayley just because she's I guess the safer pick because I was really struggling to commit. And I feel like because I don't know what's going to happen with the title as well. I could see it being Bayley and Sasha. That could finally be made into a rekindled feud and be a Mania thing like we've talked about all year. Or it could be Bayley could legitimately face anyone else and it'd be a legitimate main event title picture women's kind of feud. And also, because she's one of the, the 4 horsewomen, and she's one of those people where you look back in the future and go, yeah, Bayley, Royal Rumble winner. It just makes sense. Even though, again, this is another weird one where I don't feel like this is the year for it because I want it to be that breakthrough moment. I don't like it when it's the current, someone who's been champ 3-4 times. So I feel like Bayley should have won it a few years ago, but I know WWE don't always see it that way.
Well, Bayley would also complete the women's everything, I guess, wouldn't she, with that? Because she's been Raw, SmackDown, Tag, NXT, Money in the Bank, and Rumble winner if she was to do that. So she could just leave the company afterwards.
It'd literally never hit the end of it either.
It'd be everywhere.
And also, Scott, you got number 29. Obviously, Edge and Brock Lesnar both winning from that number. So you happy with 29 or? Yeah,
it feels a bit too close to the end sometimes, but I'm happy with that.
It's been 11 years since it and it was there's a 7-year gap before that. Lesnar won 2003, Edge won 2010. I feel positive if I was you.
Yeah, all right.
And remember, you got 2 shots at it, so
true.
Yeah. Also, we've not yet done our first eliminations and most eliminations for our bonus points. So, I mean, as I've brought it up, I might as well just quickly go for mine. I think Billie Kay's going out first and Bianca Belair's getting the most. So,
that's good choice. They're good choices. First eliminated, Peyton Royce. Most eliminations, I'm torn between Bianca and Rhea because if I'm not going to pick them to win, Rhea. Yeah, Rhea.
I'll go with first elimination to Mina.
Lana. Oh.
No. Imagine the winner. Who I think is meant to win to get eliminated first.
Cover all bases, mate.
Yeah, I think Lana's going to win it. She'll be the first one eliminated and she'll get the most of them.
Mate, yeah, you could back. I used to, you know, those little slot machine games with a little 2p's in. Mate, I tactically used to do that.
Yeah, I'll go with Tamina eliminated first, and I'll go with Nia getting the most eliminations to hopefully salvage my whole pick of this entire match because, yeah, I've ruined it. But yeah, Nia to get the most. I think Nia can come out, but even if she's in there for a short time, she can come out and eliminate about 5 or 6 people, you know, within a few minutes. Especially if she was late in the match. She could be used as a clearer, and then obviously she's a big person to eliminate by the maybe eventual winner Lana.
for a table or so, yeah. Revenge.
So I'm thinking strategically. So I'm going with the most eliminations going to be Rhea, because that way, if Rhea gets the most eliminations and then Bianca wins, I get more out of that. So I'm going that, and I'm really torn. Like, Peyton Royce is such a good shout to go out first, although I don't want her to go out first.
Same.
I don't know.
I really don't want it to be Billie Kay, by the way, because she's been great lately. So
Billie Kay's been great, yeah, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, it's either Peyton Royce or Billie Kay. But I'm finding it really hard to pick between. I've got to go Peyton Royce, I think, because as you said, Billie Kay she's doing something. You know, yeah. So yeah, Peyton Royce.
But that could add to what she's doing at the same time.
It's going to be like Charlotte, isn't it?
Oh no, yeah, no way. It's hard though because I've been rewatching all Rumble matches like leading up to obviously this Rumble, and the most common person to be eliminated first is a number 3 entrant, yeah, followed by the number 4 entrant. However, there has been other Rumbles where they have let the ring build up to about 6-7 people, and then the first eliminated person is like one of those lot, you know. So it's very, very tough. And I'm just going on the basis that I think they're going to let the women's one build up more, and Tamina will come out, get a little bit in, but then she'll get eliminated by a couple of people. But if one of those Rumbles where it's like 2 serious people in first, you know, like a Charlotte and Bailey, so you know the 2 women are going to go at it, and that's like 2 big picks. The number 3 comes out and it is someone, like you say, like a Peyton Royce, and then they're going to do the whole thing like when it was Shawn Michaels and Undertaker that year, and then Zack Ryder comes out, I think, and then it's just like, yeah, off your pop, mate. Like you get to do a couple of moves, but now you're off your pop. But it's hard to know obviously which way they're going to book it, obviously. And then there's 2 Rumbles, there's 2 different ways, 2 chances, 2 ways they're going to do it. But yeah, it's a very difficult question, that. Damn you, Dan.
So we now move into the men's Royal Rumble match. For me, I know this has been bloody hard, but we're going to do exactly the same thing as we did with the women's one. We are all just going to say the name of the person that we think is going to win at the exact same time.
Yeah, I mean, much like the women's one, are people not ready like I am again?
No, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Oh, okay. All right. What about you, Dan? You feel ready? I mean, I'm ready, but I'm not sure if I'm ready.
Yeah. Let's get ready to rumble, boys. I'm pretty much done. So, 3, 2, 1.
Daniel Bryan.
Oh, okay. So that was Robert Dan Big E and me and Lucas Daniel Bryan.
Mine was literally I was flicking between both of them, Big E and Daniel Bryan, the whole day.
I haven't fought Big E for about 2 months. I just felt like it was super obvious 2 months ago, but I felt like they I don't know, they took a step back.
I was gonna literally say my one and then just go Dave at the end of it. So.
I was gonna say Bo Dallas.
Oh, my favourite NXT champion.
Well, he's still on the roster, so you never know.
Yeah, so Daniel Bryan. Look, Big E is someone who's a star in the making, and I agree with Scott earlier. You mentioned obviously about upper mid carders ideally should win the Rumble match. However, a new thing has happened, which has changed my opinion. WrestleMania had fans this year, which is, I know it sounds weird that being a news thing, I guess, but it's a new point in this current climate. Daniel Bryan, and if they're going to have Goldberg involved with the WWE title picture, or Lesnar if he decides to come back potentially, they're going to need the other match to be the wrestling match because, you know, end of the day, Goldberg does not do that. And he, well, didn't do that back then, didn't do it now. And I think they will count on the smart fans, obviously liking Daniel Bryan. It fixes a lot of stuff for them too, from the 2014, 2015 Rumbles. It ties in with the fact that he has said that his in-ring days are, you know, within the last couple of years of them anyway. And it ticks it off that he hasn't done it yet. I think also he'll be an incredible winner and a worthy winner too. It keeps fans happy. It'll make story sense. Because wasn't the plan, I think, at one point for Daniel Bryan to get the title shot at the Rumble for a long time? And I know Meltzer reported quite heavily on it back in about September, October time. And obviously they haven't done that. And so the only reason, and they've kept Daniel Bryan completely away since I think actually since last year, in fact. I don't think he's been around the Universal title picture at all. Last year, he was involved with the IC Championship, you know, for a majority of it. He took a break, obviously midway through the year, and then he returned, and he's been part of, obviously, let's be real, the mid-card acts. You know, he's been helping the mid-card out, and that's fine. But they've done it. The only reason I can think of is they've kept him split for a reason. At the moment, it's looking like The Rock is not going to be at Mania. And I think they, you know, if The Rock was at Mania, like, it would be announced the day that those tickets go on sale, or the day before, really, like leading up to it. He is too big a name to just be like, yeah, and The Rock's here, by the way. Like, because The Rock, he supersedes everything they've done. And it's, you know, it's a shame it is like that, but it's the fact that The Rock is bigger than the company, this, you know, with this. So, yeah, Daniel Bryan, I think he'll be a worthy winner. I don't know. Oh, what happens if I use a bold prediction here and I get it wrong?
I don't know. Yeah, we haven't really thought that part through. What is the bold prediction first, and then I guess we'll figure it out, because it's a weird way to do it on the Rumble.
He'll be number one, and it basically do Shawn Michaels from '96, because he's already got the longevity record. Yeah. Obviously in the greatest Royal Rumble, which obviously is the caveat that's messed everything up in the last few years, because Brock Lesnar now has equaled Braun's number. Obviously Braun got it in the greatest Royal Rumble with 50 competitors. But anyway, I won't make it a bold prediction, but I think that'll be the story. That's it. That's a story I would tell. End of the day, Roman is doing the whole, you know, I'm the head of my table. You know, I deserve my place. But if Daniel Bryan earns it. By going from number 1 to number 30 and winning that Rumble, and, you know, I don't know what the time record, I think it's now about an hour and 5 minutes it'll have to last. If he does that, there's no one who can turn around and say, yeah, this guy didn't deserve it. It's like, you know, it's very Daniel Bryan-ish, that kind of thing to do. And I think that would be the good thing to do. And it would completely correct and silence all their fans. Everyone will be happy. Happy days.
It did sound like that was the kind of route he was going down as well, with like all the promos and stuff that he's been having on SmackDown. Did sound like, obviously he's saying about wanting to go all the way and win it. So, you know, some of like the verbiage he was using was kind of seemingly saying that he wanted to go like, away from number 1.
It seems, I mean, his past year, it seems like he just wants to wrestle. So you start the Rumble with Daniel Bryan and Cesaro, you know, just literally wrestling, you know, doing their stuff that they do. That is probably the best that they could, you know, the best two that can do that kind of stuff.
They just wait 20 minutes for the next person.
Pretty much, yeah.
Happy just for seeing what's that.
You know, and then you can sprinkle in your Shinsuke Nakamura's, then you can sprinkle in, you know, just your other top tier workers who just, because he's one of those people he can just rest. He's just, I mean, I don't know if you can tell, I'm a bit of a Daniel Bryan fan here, but he is just, when he gets going, he's just really wonderful to watch. And then obviously, because he's obviously been separated, you know, because of the brand split, from people like AJ Styles, we know he can go and hang with, you know, Matt Riddle and other people. Like, it's the beauty of him just being in there and being able to do that stuff. Almost like Voldemort from 2004, when he was able just to be able to wrestle and be with kind of everyone regardless. And obviously he went on to win. And it'll be the same kind of thinking here, I think, where he goes from 1 to the end. But obviously Shawn Michaels 1 is now 25 years old of that. So obviously that is probably not in the last generation of fans, 2 generations of fans probably. that one, and obviously the other one they don't like to talk about.
That's a good point. They do need to, yeah, they don't need to, but it would be good if they did another one, because then they could, when they show all these graphics and that, you've got another person you can throw in that kind of like went the distance type.
Obviously, I mean, Rey Mysterio did it too, actually, to be fair. But they've always got some controversy around that, because obviously it was a bit of a weird sticky one around the time, exploiting Eddie's death. But I think Daniel Bryan, he fits that club. Like when you list those names of Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit, Rey Mysterio, Daniel Bryan as people who went the distance in the Rumble, I'm like, that's cool by me.
Yeah, I like the idea of Daniel Bryan being number one. I think if it's something that Bryan would do, given that he's a face and he just wants to wrestle, I could see him actually asking to be number one to prove a point. Because sometimes Daniel has, regardless of he could be the main champion, and for some reason you still see him as an underdog. So for him to go from number 1 to number 30 onto Mania to win at Mania, again, is that underdog story, which is great. I'd love to see it again, like him have that big push and it elevates him again. But I think Bryan's done it, like he had his moment, like it was Yes or Mania, as they said. Someone like Big E, he's still up and coming, and I think if there's ever a time for him to shine, it's now. He's not broken away from New Day. He's on a different brand. When the Rumble and other, like there's a mixed pay-per-view and they come out, you get to see New Day again. Especially when they done the thing for Gears of War, when they all come out with their costumes.
Yeah. I'll tell you, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was great. I love that, but I think it would be nice to see Big E being a member of New Day that shines in a Rumble instead of Kofi, because full well every time there's a Rumble, Kofi's going to get that. He escapes again, like a lucky escape. I think this time Big E's not going to do like some free running stuff, but he's going to stand his ground, and I reckon he could win it. I really believe that. They've changed his music. They're giving him this new moniker of who he is, and it's really starting to become believable. The only thing I want them to see him do is bring back. Do you remember in NXT when he had the 5 count?
Yeah,
I'd love to see them do that again. Yeah. So I'd love to see them do that again. But if they don't, then they don't. But now is a better time of any for someone like Big E to shine. And you never know. Like imagine him versus Roman at Mania. It's something that you wouldn't expect. And I think having something that you wouldn't expect is much more important, and it could go the distance than, someone like Daniel Bryan, who could go. It's something that you wouldn't see from Big E, and I think it'd be a massive shock factor.
Yeah, I think for me, obviously, I said Big E as well. Like, I was basically umming and ahhing right up until pretty much I clicked on accept the invitation to actually be a part of this chat. And I was between obviously Bryan and Big E, but I settled on Big E eventually, because I think somehow they may still get to Bryan Big E at Mania. Maybe through Bryan winning Elimination Chamber and Big E winning the Rumble.
Who's the villain in that? Would you turn Daniel Bryan?
There's no need to have a villain in it, because what you can do is have Roman Reigns just be like, well, I was never actually beaten by you for my title, so have maybe chuck him in as well and have maybe a triple threat.
Freeway. That'd be good.
But then, then it also will then sort of mimic the story of WrestleMania 35, when you had obviously Daniel Bryan defending the title against Kofi of the New Day. And then possibly this time it could be Bryan versus Big E for the title. So, I mean, obviously there's, you touched a bit, Rob, on the whole thing about Kofi being overshadowed this year maybe by Big E, but we don't know even if Kofi's going to make it to the Rumble yet, because he's obviously out with a broken jaw at the moment. So, it's whether he actually makes it back in time, and then it's who's going to take that role in the Rumble. Is that going to be like your Ricochet
John
or
Morrison.
something like that?
Yeah,
Ricochet or Morrison, someone like that.
Yeah, disappointed that John Morrison didn't really do anything last year. So I was so looking forward to him and Kofi doing stuff together. But
something together.
Yeah, because I mean, even when you kind of look at the field at the moment, there's no real standout name that you'd say is head and shoulders. They're 100% going to win. So obviously, other than the two with Pick, Bryan and Big E, the only other ones, obviously, Bobby Lashley, who is US champ. I don't think he's going to do much. AJ is always a solid hand in there. Orton will probably have something with the Fiend and both get eliminated. Then you've got Otis, The Miz, Jey Uso, Cesaro, Jeff Hardy, Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, Nakamura. You know, it's like I think they're all names that can easily kind of get chucked out. You know, not early on, but you know they're all people that I don't really see winning. People. Yeah, I think it's definitely going to come down. I think to Big E and Bryan as the last two, and I think it's just been so tough to pick between them. I think even like with betting odds, I think it's always been flip-flopping between the two of them. And, you know, you're always hearing like, oh, it's going to be Bryan, it's going to be Big E, it's going to be Bryan, it's going to be Big E. So I think they're the two main names. And I think with Bryan, he's now helping out a bit more with like the mid-card guys that are trying to elevate some of them. You know, he's part of the booking team and that now. Maybe he'll then turn around and say, well, you know, give the younger guys a chance, give Big E give E the opportunity. And, you know,
it's hard because obviously W is very corporate though. Like obviously it's a case of like, give the mid-cards a chance, but we've got 25,000 tickets to sell for Mania. Like, you know, no one's coming to watch, you know, a mid-carder potentially.
Yeah, true. But then I suppose they've got 3 shows basically to make you give a damn about Big E. You know, you give him a good show. You give him a good show at the Rumble, a good showing at Elimination Chamber, a good showing at Fastlane. Make him a credible contender.
Isn't he IC champion as well? So, like, would he have to lose that, or would you?
So what I think is going to happen with that is I think either SmackDown or one of the pay-per-views, he's going to go into a triple threat with Apollo and Sammy, and it's going to be like Apollo will win it by pinning Sammy, or Sammy will win it by pinning Apollo. So I think that's how they're going to get out of that. You know, to be fair, I'm not a fan of having the other like singles champions in the Rumble matches. So like Bobby Lashley being in there, and you know, obviously Big E as IC champion being in there. I think he has to. I think possibly as early as SmackDown, I think he may lose that title. You know, or even they may do a thing where they've not announced it, but they may even do like a kickoff show match or something where he will lose the title beforehand.
Kind of a downer though, isn't it? If you lose a title on the same night and then you go,
especially
an IC title, like.
But then didn't that happen the year with Becky?
But I think that's different though, isn't it? Like, I think that's quite different being the main, you know, women's kind of title. Well, they haven't got an IC, have they? But still, you know, like to lose the IC title feels a bit. You know, but yeah, I was the same. Like, there's still a part of me that thinks maybe Big E, but I think the whole title thing and the timeline doesn't really add up for me. Like, he does fit the mold as far as like what I like to see. Like you mentioned earlier, you know, someone breaking into that main event scene, and it seemed the writing was on the wall about 2 months ago, and maybe it still is. But giving him the title, the IC title, I feel like they kind of pushed him in a different direction, and I feel like they took their foot off the gas for a bit. On that, and then gave him that title as if to say, yeah, this is what we're doing instead with him. So Daniel Bryan in some ways seems a bit too obvious. You know, that's my only worry there. But I mean, I'm going with Daniel Bryan because it does feel like he is winding down now. Like, this is becoming like his farewell tour almost, you know. So whether or not he actually retires or he just goes elsewhere and works less dates, I do think obviously he's on the tail end of his career, and I think, like Rob said though, like he's done this. We've had Yes or Mania, we've had all that kind of stuff, which is why I'm not 100% sure that he'd win at Mania. I kind of got a feeling that he'd win the Rumble, and because I don't know, like it's just from stuff you hear, innit? But you hear things about that certain people's character outside of wrestling, and from the things you hear about Daniel Bryan, he sounds like the kind of person that would just be like, no, I'm fine with losing at Mania. I'm fine with it. Like, I feel like it could even be possibly like a loser, like I'll quit, I'll leave, I'll retire if I don't beat Roman Reigns for the title. Because I do feel like the Roman Reigns Daniel Bryan feud is the best way to go as far as like big bad evil Roman Reigns, heel Roman Reigns, and if there's anyone on the roster that can be the opposite babyface, for me Daniel Bryan is the perfect one. Like, I feel like Big E would be good, but Daniel Bryan is ready-made in that mold. He can just fit into that straight away. And that's why I feel like that's the case. So earlier I said, you know, like someone's got to come along to beat Big Bad Reigns at Mania. But if it's Daniel Bryan, I don't think he has to do that, because part of me thinks, yeah, so all right, it's the end of his career. What, he wins the title and then he leaves after about 2-3 months. He retires 6 months later. Who knows? Maybe he wins the title and just leaves, or maybe just he doesn't win it and he makes. I could, you know, like I said, you hear things about these guys and you feel like he's the kind of person that will go, no, let's put Reigns that one step over, even further as I leave the company. You know, so I could see that. It's a match I'd like to see. It's a storyline I like to see. I genuinely feel like it was definitely likely to be The Rock this year. You know, if it would have been in Hollywood, I feel like you would have had the Hall of Fame and The Rock coming in. Like, it's the perfect storyline. The tribal chief, the head of the table. No, you're not. I'm the head of the table. I always have been. Box office, blah blah blah, everything. The Rock, it's the perfect storyline. We've always wanted that, or wondered how they do The Rock and Roman, and it just seemed obvious. Oh yeah, cousins. But this year it would have been perfect. Like someone to come along and go, you ain't the tribal chief. I am. You know, I've always, like, he's literally, maybe. But Rock is literally like that person to come in. There's a perfect reason for the storyline. Before, it would have been two baby faces. It would have been nice, but it would have been like Cena Rock. This would have been like Cena Rock with that added family thing and that added kind of tribal chief kind of heel thing that we never saw coming with Roman Reigns. So it's a shame, because it feels like that would have happened, but I just can't see it at the moment. So I think the second best option is to have, you know, a super baby face, kind of like you guys are saying, you know, like going through the whole Rumble. I can do this, you know, everybody's behind him. You find it almost like a WrestleMania, but in the end, for me, he doesn't even have to do it. He just has to be that story being told. So that's why I'm going with Daniel Bryan.
Suppose for you want him just to come in at number 29, just to destroy the field and
some
extra points.
Although I'd like the story from number 1. Yeah, true. I'd like that extra point as well.
What's interesting to me, though, is that for both these Rumbles, majority of our picks, and even, you know, obviously I've locked it in, so it has to stay locked in. But my pick for the women's was a blind pick. We chose the SmackDown superstars. And it's interesting because last year, both Rumbles were won by Raw superstars. Charlotte Flair for the women and obviously Drew McIntyre for the men. And it's weird that I don't think this is where I'm torn, though. This is where, going to this pick, there has to be a swerve here. Like, what both these picks we just picked, I think they're so obvious. Because obviously, if Biggie does it, again, there is obviously going into an obvious Mania story that they could do. If Daniel Bryan wins, like we said, like, it's pretty much like, you know, 101. But do you think, are we overlooking a surprise? Like, you know, is Rollins coming back? Is The Rock in the Rumble?
Yeah,
but then the thing is, as well,
is he number 30?
But then Rollins is SmackDown, isn't it, as well? So, and this is
because he's a surprise, and
there are still fans going to be there. You know, my big thing of Rock not being here is the fact that there was seemingly going to be no fans, but there are going to be fans. And then on the other token, if anyone can retire with 20,000, 10,000 fans and be fine with it, it's indie darling Daniel Bryan. You know, like, because you know, when you get 200 in a gym, he'd be fine with that. I feel like
that's WrestleMania to them. Yeah, I know what I mean.
So like that would, I feel like he's the kind of person that doesn't need. And I think a big thing about Mania, which we'll get into, I'm sure, in the lead up, is that they're gonna have to rely on just company guys of like Triple H is having a match. Like, he's having, because he can convince it. I can be that legend. Like, to get in a Goldberg and a Brock Lesnar, you know, all right, we're seeing Goldberg at the moment, but like to bring in these big stars from yesteryear, I think it's gonna be tough. Like, oh, you want me to come back for my final ever match or my one returning match? You know, say, like, in front of no one. So, but it's going to be a small crowd, so who knows how they're going to do it. But yeah, it's another thing that makes me go all over the place, like you say, about Rock and about Rollins.
What about Lesnar? Like, has anyone thought about maybe Lesnar coming in and winning it, like he did at the Money in the Bank thing that year? Just
number 31.
See, Lesnar talk reminds me of how good last year's Rumble was. So, and that's going to be so strange this year with no fans.
How are they going to do the countdown thing?
Oh, yeah. True.
Probably pre-recorded, isn't it? Probably pre-recorded, I guess.
My issue with Lesnar, right? And I think the more I've seen of Lesnar and the more backstage stories I've heard of him, I've actually taken a shine to him. And the fact that with the Rumble, when he got the Claymore kick from Drew, he sold it like a champ, literally like a champ, and it was on the floor. Mania, like a champ again, and then you got Drew standing to Rock still flat on the mat. I get it, and I like the idea. But then, if Brock does win it, would Brock not go for? Would you say? Let's say Goldberg wins. Would Brock go for Goldberg, or would Brock go for Roman because of Paul Heyman?
Well, that'd be yeah, Heyman and Brock, yeah.
Yeah,
Heyman and Brock,
if
Reigns and Brock.
I think it all depends. I think if Roman loses to Owens, then it could well. I think that's going to be the thing. I think depending on match thing, I think if Owens beats Reigns, then Roman will probably turn around to Paul Heyman and be like, "Well, this was your doing because you were the one who said that these contracts were like exactly the same. You know, I signed up to wrestle Adam Pearce. You've made me wrestle Kevin Owens. I've lost the title now." He's like, "You know, what kind of like advocate are you?" And then he's like, "Well, I'll show you what kind of advocate I am." And then here's Brock Lesnar pretty much face you. But I think the thing is, what we need to remember as well is like, even though whoever's going to win the Rumble this year, we still don't, there's still Elimination Chamber before WrestleMania. There's still Fastlane before WrestleMania. So anything could change. So, you know, we could have, say, a Big E or a Daniel Bryan win the Rumble. There's no saying that it's going to be Roman Reigns they're going to be facing at WrestleMania. It could be anybody at this rate. But, you know, and we've not even touched on, like, the Raw side of things yet. So, you know, it could even be, you know, Bryan versus Drew, or Big E versus Drew, maybe. They could decide to go down that route and then have something else on the other side of it. But
well, that's the beauty of the position we're in now, though, where obviously now what I love about the week for the Rumble is it's the 1 week of the year where anything could happen. Like anything with Mania could happen. But once Rumble happens, we are kind of locked in. Like we're half locked in at least, because some changes can still happen, but you still got to go with someone won a Rumble match, so they've got to be somewhat involved in the general main title picture on a program, and you've got to commit to that. But now, obviously, is where that again they're probably going through the discussion now. Should Daniel Bryan win it? Should Big E win it? Have we got Lesnar? Is he willing to come in and AJ Styles? etc.
They're not going to decide until the night.
What's the point of picking if they ain't?
Literally, right before the first person goes out, he's going to be like, "Oh, you're winning it." Be like, Triple H, you want to be in the Rumble? You might as well go and win it, mate. Go on.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's easy to overthink these things, though, isn't it? Because it's such a big kind of thing, especially this year. Because again, a lot of my thinking with this really is obviously Mania has fans, the Rumble doesn't. They need to do something to get those fans to buy tickets, like now. And that's what I'm thinking. Is there a big surprise? Is there a big swerve? You know, can The Rock come in at number 30, lay some SmackDown?
29 would be nice.
Number 10, having been there for almost an hour as a part-timer.
Or what about this? CM Punk, number 30, comes in, wins the Rumble. Bryan wins Elimination Chamber. Bryan Punk at Mania.
I'd love it, but it's not the time you want to see.
Won't happen.
It's got to be in front of fans. It's got to be. But yeah. Who are we going with first out and most eliminations then?
I think most eliminations will be Big E. I did think maybe they might. I don't want to, because I know what Strowman's injury is. Sorry. Usually Strowman I'll go for, obviously, as he's obviously a shout for this. But I don't know what his injuries are like. Again, he could be another big surprise that could come in and be part of it, I guess. I don't know what his injury was. But anyway, I think Big E, that could be one. It's just because he's IC champion. In my head, like I couldn't see how they could get from him just winning the IC championship to him main event in Mania, like within like 3 months with nothing else happening. But yeah, Big E, I think that'd be a good one. He gets the most eliminations in the Rumble, doesn't win though. That could be good. First out's very tricky because, do they go for a jokey one, like an Otis or R-Truth, someone like that, or do they go for a big kind of surprise, big pop moment? Because technically, obviously, the first, I will go for Probably someone on the Raw brand, someone low down. I'll go for Matt Riddle. I don't know why, but they don't like him, so Matt Riddle.
Matt Riddle.
Yeah, I'm also going for first out Matt Riddle. He irritates the hell out of me. I don't know what it is. Like, he's a good wrestler, but I'm just not a fan of this bro. Like, I'm just so done with it. You know, it's. I get trying to get something over now is not as easy, but it was bad enough when Zack Ryder done it, and we've now got Matt Riddle doing it, and I'm just not a fan. So Matt Riddle can be thrown out first. I mean, he can literally go into the ring and just get thrown out. I will take it. But most eliminations, I'm going Baron Corbin.
Wow.
Woo, woo,
Wow.
woo. Bruno.
He could be either one of those, first out or most eliminations. But yeah, I think I'm going to go Big E for most eliminations. Just because I don't see him winning, but I do see him having a big role in this. And first out, I'm going to go with... See, everyone I think of, they've had it in recent years, so I think it'd be too much if they had it again. You know what? I'm going to be bold and say Cedric Alexander.
I've got the hair business.
So for me, I am going to go with the most eliminations. This may surprise you. I'm going to go for Otis for most eliminations.
Oh.
And first elimination, I think it's going to be one of Retribution.
I was thinking.
I forgot they existed.
Yeah.
Just because it's a funny name, I'm going Slapjack's going to be.
Yeah, that's what I was going to be. We're saying it. I could kind of see like what do you call it?
Or Ricochet or something, because like they're doing this whole thing where he's trying to fight to get in, and I don't get that as well. Like people are like, oh yeah, I'm in the Royal Rumble, and then he's now got to suddenly.
Yeah. I kind of going against my own
so.
Cedric thing because I can kind of see Hurt Business clearing house, all four of them, and running like for about 5-6 eliminations, but the only one's in the ring standing tall. So I'm kind of going against my own thing there, but I'd like that. But no, I've already said it now. I just think it's too easy to go with like Bobby Roode and Cesaro and those kind of like, they shouldn't be pushing him like down like that, but they do. Like, but a lot of them would be repeat ones as well that I can think of. But yeah, what do you guys think about? We haven't really touched on anything to do with Randy Orton, The Fiend, and Alexa Bliss. Either the Rumble's going to play a part in that?
Maybe.
Fiend will eliminate Orton.
That's what I feel like. And why is Alexa being pushed so much? Is she going to do anything? Because we didn't even talk about her possibly winning the Rumble, which I think is probably a possibility.
I don't know. That she's kind of they're kind of in their own universe, aren't they? The Fiend and Alexa, I think, like away from the titles. Because that's why it was weird when Bray, the Fiend, was the champion. Because why would that matter to him? In this world that he's in. Well, he won it twice as well, actually.
He's dead now, anyway. So
yeah, may rest in peace.
Got burnt.
Yeah, no, it's odd. Thing is, like we keep saying though, it just depends. Are they going for easy, or are they going for overly complicated annoyingness? Because obviously they've got 2 pay-per-views to obviously change it back, obviously afterwards. And so this is where it does get very difficult to think of. Because, someone could win the Rumble and not be in the main event of WrestleMania, because there's 2 pay-per-views for them to change it.
I hate stuff like that.
Well, what if someone does a Randy? Was it Randy Orton or John Cena who gave the title shot the next month at No Way Out 1 year?
Adam Pearce, isn't it? He's going to win it.
It's so hard to call. What about surprises though? We haven't said any of those. Like, who's going to be a surprise? Who do you reckon to be surprises in this one?
Edge will probably be back.
Yeah, I think
for
Edge,
both, let's say for both matches. We didn't say about women either, did we? So
Edge, Seth Rollins.
It's probably a bit soon. Maybe a bit soon.
I said in our group chat, Santino.
Santino.
Yeah, Santino. So yeah, Santino. Yeah, I think that too.
What about John Cena?
Any that you want as well. Any that's they're not points now, is it? Now these ones like.
What about John Cena? What about Cena?
Samoa Joe.
Oh, that's a good shout.
Oh, that's a good shout.
I think we are going to see the return of this guy.
No. I hope not. I mean, as much as I always want to see The Undertaker, and it will make me completely right about my rant in the Survivor Series episodes. Yeah, I really hope they don't do us that dirty.
Yeah, they won't. I don't think.
No, not at the Rumble anyway.
Not this year anyway. Not so soon after.
I think he's gonna be. I think he will be a part of Mania weekend. I think they're going to do something because the fans being there, and obviously they need to shift tickets. They're going to do something.
Funhouse if they do that.
Yeah, I don't know what they do, but I think they might do a. I don't know what they can call it. I guess Undertaker farewell tour or something. I don't know what they're going to come up with. The final last ride, the extra final. So I don't know.
Another ride for the last time again.
In terms of surprises in the Rumble, I think that Rollins, Strowman, as like the kind of returns of people who are just going to return in the Rumble, because obviously Seth's been off TV since November. Braun was injured, but I don't know what it was with. But yeah, that
his knees.
One that I want to see, just because I always like seeing him, or two that I want to see that I always like seeing them for different reasons. Number one, The Godfather. I love him. Just needs to be in everything. He gets the biggest. I loved it.
The Thunderdome will go wild.
You just want to see the hoe train, innit? That's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, come on. We can be honest here, Lucas. We're amongst friends. Come on.
I don't swing that way, so nothing for me. I know a gay guy who absolutely loves The Godfather, but I think it's a phenomenal gimmick. I always love seeing it. And the other one for similar reasons that I love seeing, Honky Tonk Man. I think he should do it as well. I love Honky Tonk. And guitar spot. It's easy, simple. It's a simple 1 minute thing they can do. Done it before. And it always.
Throw Elias in with him.
And
Elias,
Elias.
They
have a whole band thing, couldn't they? They have a whole band thing. Like going as a section in the Rumble before obviously getting dumped out by maybe the Hurt Business.
Speaking of band, Jinder. Coming back.
Yeah, he got injured in May, didn't he? That could be a big return, especially because isn't NXT India meant to be starting soon as well? So to be fair, if that was to happen, he could actually do something like, at least get to the final four or get the most eliminations. And I think they'd want to put a big spotlight on him, obviously.
Yeah.
That was to happen.
If anything, it would be great Khali.
The ledge. Khali.
If you're gonna promote NXT India, then why not go for the biggest, baddest?
Well, no, that's true.
Indian wrestler around.
Yeah, I mean, they did use Jinder that way last time, didn't they? Obviously, putting the title on him, which a lot of people look back on in different ways, but I enjoyed it. I liked Jinder.
I did too.
To do well, so don't hinder Jinder. Let's carry that on, and him coming, who knows? Maybe he could win it and face Drew, and Heath Slater gets put into the storyline or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, that's another person I'd like to see back because it's another person on the roster. Like you kind of said there, Lucas, like with Seth and Braun, they can just come back because they worked there. It's the legends that are a bit thing, unsure of the audience and that. It kind of has to be, I think, a legend that's already done their returns, like your Trish's and stuff like that. Like every year for the women's one in the past few years, I think people have wanted Victoria and Jazz. I don't want Victoria and Jazz this year. I want them to get their pops, I really do. Like I want them to have their last big career highs. I don't want it to be in the performance center. No, in the what's it called? Thunderdome. Either way, I don't want that. So I'd like. Obviously, I want to see legends, but I want to see the legends that have had their moment of their return pop. The kind of like the old days when you get
Phoenix or something.
Yeah, someone like Beth Phoenix. Like the old days, we used to it will always be Slaughter, DiBiase, Piper. They were always the legends coming back. It kind of got a bit dull in the end, but like it was kind of like they'd had their big moments of even their returns. Once you come back as a legend, you need that one big boom. And so for me, please no Jazz or Victoria. But that's not saying I don't want to ever see them.
I've kind of also been thinking about Legends Night, and like surely, thing is to be a Rumble return,
Hogan,
you've already kind of got to be in the lexicon of WWE are very much like that. Hall of Fame, Rumble return spots. Those go to people who they like, or / who aren't the phone.
What about Hogan? I mean, getting out, throwing him over the top rope might be difficult, but to do a few punches and do you think he's ever going to be that guy? Like to come in and do
one soon, one more time, I think. But not now.
Yeah, he'd want the fans as well, wouldn't he?
No, I think he wants one more match. I think he wants one more match, and he will get one more match.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think they're Saudi. They'd offer too much money for it. He'd get one more match, but I don't know. Rumble, he's not the putting over people guy, and I don't see how he'd agree to do it. And yeah, the logistics of him going over the top rope, like you said, probably not going to work out if he's bad everything.
It was like that WrestleMania 17. They said the only reason Iron Sheik won that was because he was medically
unable to get out of the ring,
take a bump, out of the ring. So that's why
the same with Hogan.
Match. Yeah,
Hogan would refuse. Yeah.
It's like he'll go out one way, his hips will go one way, his knees will go the other way. But
what about Kane?
It'd be an easy one. Yeah, company guy. Like doesn't need the big crowd reaction, because he's had plenty and probably can have more in the future. So, yeah, Kane would that be a good shout? I think all those people that were around Taker's return, Taker's finale, those guys.
The Godwins.
Yeah, the Godwins. maybe Jeff Jarrett. I think it's going to be guys that are in and around the company at the moment as far as legends go. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking, especially because of obviously the pandemic and stuff. Like, obviously, I think they're going to be very well, we say they're going to be very cautious. They had Ric Flair on television, didn't they? Like during peak pandemic, and Jerry Lawler was still commentating.
Do you mean Ric Flair, the guy who's now going to be permanently on TV, pretty much?
Yeah, that's the thing. I stopped myself literally the minute I said what I said, because they probably haven't been very careful, to be fair. So at this rate, they start digging people up from the graves at this point, like just to get them.
What about the man staring us in the face, sort of right there, the Hurricane?
Yeah, I'd love to see Hurricane. That'd be great.
Love it. Yeah, I don't think
he had a couple of years ago. To be fair, he could do.
What about? Do you think we could see a 24/7 championship change in the middle of the Rumble this year?
Possibly.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Possibly.
So like a bit like it wouldn't be like a championship scramble, but with enough people in there and people following, the ring could fill up. So it could be one of the things of R-Truth could remain victorious because everyone else gets thrown out of these and actually a part of it. Kind of like, do you remember how Kai and Tai kept running into the ring in Royal Rumble 2000 and get thrown out?
Yeah.
Falls on his head.
That elimination. But the Paul London one, though.
But,
I'm going to throw one name. I'll throw one name at you guys. Maven. He's never been eliminated, technically.
Man.
Maybe. What about the guys who's going in the Hall of Fame as well? So you've got, obviously, Batista, JBL.
No.
Maybe JBL, not Batista.
JBL's a shout.
Maybe
X-Pac?
No, I think he needs fans. He hasn't had that moment.
He also, this is the thing. He also recently said on social media that he won't be in the Rumble. But then again, do you know whether that is? Yeah, because it was recently when they said about why they weren't doing Legends Night, because they were like, we're always on them, is what they kind of said. It's always NWO DX, whatever it is. And then they asked him on the same thing. They asked him about the Rumble, obviously, because it was only like a couple of weeks ago, and he did say that no, like he's not going to be in the area, blah blah.
They always say that.
Yeah.
What about, this is where we get controversial here, is there someone defecting from AEW perhaps? Someone who's unhappy in AEW who managed to get out of their contract and smuggles over to the other company? God, imagine after all this, after all we kind of said, he just shuffles back over.
Do you have someone in mind, or?
I can be quite bold here, but I think I wouldn't be too surprised if one of the members of SCU, not Daniel, he's backstage.
No.
They don't get used. They don't get used.
You can't. Surely there'd be like a clause or something. I can't see a defection from AEW at this stage from anyone. I just can't.
I thought it'd be good. I'm trying to be controversial.
Yeah, I could say, hey, mate. If you want to get that clickbait, so be it. But
a lot of people, a lot of comments about what's her name, Morrison's wife, Valkyrie.
Valkyrie, yeah.
Because they on Impact, I've only been told this information, and I've seen a clip, but they killed her. They killed her off as part of their Wrestle House.
Of course, they did.
And they've made they said that like they packed when they sent her body away.
Then again, we can't laugh. WWE are burning people here, so like.
They made comments like saying, "Oh, where's she off to? Is she off to Jacksonville?" And then they were like, "Nah, like Jacksonville's too nice a climate. She's off to Stanford." Obviously,
okay, yeah, okay.
And you know she's now dead in TNA Impact. So, and obviously, unlike WWE, TNA, mate. Where they've allowed murder. And then allow people to come back from murder, but it's like, well, money in the bank, they got away with that with the whole second room.
What a year it's been.
Oh my, not even. The thing is, that wasn't even a year ago. That was 7 months ago, and we've had so much happen since then. But yeah, potentially people have been saying her.
Tessa Blanchard, another one.
Yeah, she was meant to be coming in a while ago, if you believe the rumours, you know, about 6 months ago, wasn't it? So
the thing is, though, maybe she's been like signed and then she's going to be like a surprise pop-up.
Held off, yeah.
I mean, the thing is as well, it's like we're saying about surprise entrants in the Rumble. Like, I think me and Rob have both picked Rhea Ripley to win it. Technically, she's not even been announced for it yet. And to be fair, none of the NXT talent have been announced for it. And
they usually are the weird kind of semi-surprises, aren't they? You know.
Yeah, because I think they were saying that initially Damian Priest was meant to be called up to the main roster as part of the
I'd like to see him
and Reign story, so he could possibly be there. Yeah. Another possible return, Aleister Black, maybe. Not seen him on TV for a while. Interesting. I don't know how much of the like betting odds you guys look at. Ronda Rousey is actually 8-1 to win the Rumble.
Oh, I hope not.
Come on, man. I'd like to see Ronda back. I would.
And Becky Lynch is 9-1.
So I think it's too soon for her. As much as I'd like to see it, she needs time. You know, she needs time off. But I can see WWE doing that.
I can see Becky at Mania.
Bring the baby with you. Bring the baby with you in the ring. Give some apple cold to hold while you're in the ring.
And if she does bring the baby,
you lazy bitch.
If she brings the baby, Gene Snitsky's in the men's Rumble.
Oh, I hope not. Another big name that obviously has died down in recent weeks, but obviously was big as it always is after Wrestle Kingdom. After Wrestle Kingdom, there's always, you know, the big New Japan contract talk going on, and Jay White was on this year. But I've just felt all along that was kind of like Jay White's time is not done in New Japan. Look, I don't want Jay White to be in WWE because I feel like they'd ruin him, like they've ruined a lot of things. But at the same time, I'd be super excited if he entered and came out and he got to face up against some of the guys that I'd love to see him face up against. But I do feel like a lot of it, they know what happened. I think it's no coincidence now. I think New Japan are going to build on that over the next few years of being like, look, people know contracts tend to run out around here. You get a lot of talk about Rumble buzz, and then we keep them, and it keeps, you know, it's like hype for their commodity, I feel like. And like when the Bullet Club members left and Shinsuke left, it was like, maybe in future we can tease that that's happening. Kind of like when Sting stayed with TNA and they did the 2/21/11 or whatever it was. And it was like, we've still got him! When it turned out it wasn't Sting, it was just The Undertaker. But yeah.
I don't see Jay White defecting over. And I don't think he'd be, I don't know, is he... This is where they have to determine, like, because obviously, is he big enough to debut in a Rumble like AJ was? I don't think so. I don't think he's had the same journey. But yeah, it depends how they see people. But I don't know. I don't think they see New Japan. Well, definitely they don't see it as like on their level. In a weird, even though it's a weird thing saying, I don't think
they'd be really interested in Jay White. But I think you're right. The way they bring him in, I think it'd more be like a Bobby Roode situation. Bring him into NXT, make him a star there, get him into the WWE style and all that kind of stuff.
Like AJ Styles was just the one where they just couldn't dispute the fact that the guy was so well known.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen the story thing, whatever it is. It's just reminded you, innit? Like how great that whole thing was. Like he is the guy, the only, like you're right, he's the only one that could come in like that. I feel like because the story, like I genuinely believed he was never coming to WWE. I thought that ship had sailed about 3 years earlier. So the fact he went to New Japan and did what he did and then came in to the hype that he should have had 5 years earlier, was amazing that he managed to claw that back.
Yeah, because even like Balor, they brought in through the development through NXT, and he was huge in Japan. You know, and they just went, well, you're huge in Japan, but to us, you're NXT.
And Joe as well.
And Nakamura.
Yeah, and Nakamura,
yeah.
They went, no, it's big as you are in Japan, you're NXT to us. And fair enough, they've got NXT pushes, and we're champions, and, you know, rightfully so, and then obviously end up the main roster, you know, on the most part quite quickly. It still wasn't enough to be like, again, he wasn't just, thing is, he wasn't even just like Rumble debut. He was Rumble debut with Roman Reigns, the only guy in the ring, the face of the company. You know, it would be, like I said, it would be like someone debuting on AEW, and it's against Kenny Omega, you know, straight away, off the get-go. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the level it was, or way back in the day. You know, you know, when you think about Chris Jericho's debut with The Rock in the ring, like the number one
it's
guy.
comparable to that,
You know, it's like that. Obviously, a bit different, but I'm with the ilk that I think the surprises are going to be people that are already kind of in the conversation, mainly because of how they do things, and also because obviously the protocol they might have to isolate and all that kind of stuff, get people in the right positions, travel wise and stuff.
Such a strange year for it, man. Like, no fans, you know, like protocol. It's like it's such a hard Rumble to predict, you know.
Yeah, but that's what makes us this entertaining, though.
Yeah, I'm massively excited for the event. Yeah, massively excited.
I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun.
So if we're going to go off the thing of like it's mainly going to be Raw and SmackDown people this year, why don't we go through maybe and say one male, one female from NXT, one male, one female legend who we think will come back, and maybe one return to come back in each one from a male and female perspective, possibly.
So one current superstar and one legend sort of thing.
So basically, all right. So if I'll give an example. So for example, I could say, okay, I think Seth Rollins is going to be a male return in the Rumble. I think from NXT, a male superstar from NXT could possibly be Johnny Gargano. A female superstar from NXT could possibly be Mercedes Martinez, for example. And I reckon that a male legend return could be X-Pac. A female return could be Victoria, for example.
Okay. Do you want to go first then?
Yeah, sure. So I reckon the male superstar returning in the Rumble will be Aleister Black. Female that we've not seen on TV for a while returning will be... Who is it? Who got in... Who have we not seen for a while? I reckon possibly Chelsea Green, because she got injured. I don't know how her injury is healing up with a broken arm. So Chelsea Green, possibly. From NXT, I reckon we may see... It might be a bit early, but I reckon we may see Karrion Kross in the Rumble. And female-wise... I'd like to see Shotzi Blackheart, but I think she was in it last year anyway. But yeah, I think Shotzi.
For sure.
And then return, like legend-wise, it's going to be a bit out there. I reckon Kevin Nash for the men. And a woman return, possibly, I use the word legend very loosely, Nikki Bella.
Oh, she's a legend, mate. Come on.
Sure,
Hall of Fame.
Okay, so male superstar return. I'll go for the obvious, Seth Rollins. Female superstar return. It gets harder really because I'm trying to think who's injured. I think I might have to second you. Oh, I'll go Mickie James then. Actually, I'll go Mickie James. The only other person I can think of. NXT wise, I don't think there'll be any NXT stars in the Rumble. I think they're going to keep them separate because obviously of the global situation. But if obviously we're in a fantasy kind of thing here, then I think male superstar Damian Priest, female superstar Rhea Ripley, with the only people up for contention for that. Toni Storm actually, maybe, to be fair. Then might shift it to Toni Storm or even Ember Moon, because she's obviously, I'll change that. Ember Moon then. Ember Moon, because obviously she's NXT, but she's obviously been on the main roster, so it's, she's known at least. Then what are the one? The legends then. So male wise, I've seen them before, Honky Tonk Man. But if you want someone that really, if you want something someone kind of really a bit more out. I think Hongerman's quite out there because he's retired. B, he is obviously outspoken, so he's most likely to say something recently on a podcast to annoy Vince McMahon. Let's be real. And then what was it? Female superstar. It gets harder because they've all been in them, apart from Victoria. But because I literally just spoke to Joey Legend about this. Sorry, the name just dropped on the floor. Because I just spoke to him about this, I think I'll go for Molly Holly. I think it's always good to see Molly Holly, and she didn't get enough credit. So, yeah, it's Molly Holly.
We see it as Molly Holly or Mighty Molly.
They've done both already, haven't they? Yeah, so
just Molly Holly. I think the gimmicky Mighty Molly only works like once, and if you have the Hurricane and the segment backstage as well, I guess before, but it's not all after, filmed around the same time. But yeah, I think she deserves to not just be known for that gimmick. I feel, she's talented enough.
Yeah, for me, I'll do Legends first. So I'm going to say Rikishi.
Thrown out by Jay.
It'd be cool to see Rikishi come back. Speaking of that, though, do you reckon we could see Jimmy Uso return at some point in the Rumble?
Oh, yeah,
that would be my returning superstar, male. Female, I think Mickie James, is she ready to return?
I don't know.
I'd like to see her come back, and she's kind of like from the previous generation, but she's still good to go. So yeah, I'd say Mickie James. I'm trying to think female legend. I don't know. I find it really hard. Maybe I don't know. Trish again. I think Trish would be in there. It'd be odd if she wasn't now. Do you know what I mean? I was saying that I would like to see Stephanie McMahon appearing at some point. I think we spoke about that on the Talking Beans podcast or one of the Rumbles. Like Steph being in there, and then for NXT, probably I need to call him Punishment Martinez then. What's his name?
Damian Priest.
Damian Priest. That's the one I was thinking. Hang on. So Damian Priest. I'd love to see him. Do you know what? Just to see him go toe to toe with Baron Corbin. Just have a moment where they're just looking at each other. That'd be really interesting. And my Yim has disappeared from Retribution, so maybe there's a reason behind that. I don't know, but I think maybe she'll make an appearance.
You realise it's rubbish.
I mean, is she still NXT because she's not on Raw?
As herself, she kind of acts like it's not her, don't she, on Twitter?
Yeah.
So people, so
I'm going to say her.
Yeah. Main roster, male superstar Seth Rollins. Female, I really don't know who's not been around that much to bring back. So I'm just going to easily say Mickie James as well. NXT, I think, is Rhea Ripley. On the male side of NXT, it's got to be Damian Priest. And then on the Legends front, female, probably most likely to be someone like Trish Stratus. And male, I swear I was thinking of someone that is completely gone.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Christian.
Christian, no, he needs fans.
Edge.
No, you'd say he's roster now, isn't it? So
yeah.
Maybe not Edge. I'd say, oh mate, I've literally forgot who I was going to say.
Paul Buchanan.
B squared.
I love
Joey
it.
Abs.
Yeah.
Oh
mate, who was I going to say?
Perry Saturn.
Funaki.
Okay.
Dean Malenko.
Who have we mentioned Legends-wise?
The Gemini. Simon Dean.
I'd love to see Simon Dean back. I love that, the Simon system.
Eugene.
Do we class Bo Dallas as a legend? I love seeing him back.
I love Bo.
Eric Rowan.
So I think I might have to cop out for Legend one.
I think it's difficult though because there's so many, especially for the women as well. I have to say that a lot of the legends of the women are just people who worked there a couple of years ago. Like obviously you can't rule out like people like Alicia Fox.
Yeah. You know what? I'll go JBL.
Lena.
Earlier, so JBL, I'd say.
So yeah, there you have it. There are our picks for the Royal Rumble. Surprisingly, we all went for different picks in the women's match, but in the men's match, we're a little bit more on the same page. You know, 2 of us going for Big E, 2 of us going for Daniel Bryan. Who is going to come out victorious, and who's going to get the bonus points? Are any of us going to come out?
I need that trophy.
I need a miracle to happen.
This
Oh,
little
look at that.
To be wrong. Look at it.
Ooh.
I mean, pretty much, Lucas needs a clean sweep. We know that. He needs to have both his picks both coming from the same number.
But there's a lot of chance
With Lana.
the double
With
points
Lana.
with the Rumble prediction, the bonus points, you know, the elimination point. There's a lot of chance here to climb up the table. So
Exactly. And the thing is, anything can happen. Who knows what's going to happen? But anyway, don't forget, go back, watch the undercard video that we mentioned before, which is all about the 3 title matches before the main Royal Rumble matches. We've enjoyed talking about this. We've enjoyed hopefully entertaining you guys at home. Thank you all for watching. We urge you all, stay safe, take care, and we will speak to you soon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. RebNoise.com.
we've got a lot more wrestling content coming this year as well, guys. So please subscribe to Rebellious Noise on YouTube. Check out RebNoise.com and check out our podcast, Talking Beans, where we'll be talking about the main wrestling shows as we do throughout the year.